Hello, this is our presentation for the 20 questions Oracle game. Next. This is a sample timeline of all the sprints, which is what we use to organize and make sure that we go through our project in a timely manner in the best possible way we could, starting off with just laying out the groundwork for the game itself, through steps of building the database and the algorithms, and then backing them up and creating an AWS account, which we'll explain further later in the presentation. Next. These are all the tools in which we use: Jira for project management, Discord for online calls and communications, Kiwi for UI interfaces, Python for AI and other algorithms, AWS for online cloud connections, and MySQL for the database itself. Next. This is an example of one of the earlier designs of the database with key IDs and organizing them based off a species type and regional. We ended up just doing species type because that was the easiest way to organize them for the sake of this product. And all the animal IDs were also correlated to question IDs, where the question IDs is one separate database, and then the answer database would communicate with that via Python. Next.
So this is the database that I had created after we got the design finished. I basically, all the animals are in IDs from 0 to 60. So you had 60 animals altogether. And then so it correlated with the questions that we had that, so we had a value of 0 through 0.5. And when we had that, it was a yes was a 1, a 0 was a no, and then a maybe was a 0.5. And we went through, and I went through and I did the research for all the animals and lined them up with the questions that was associated with that animal. So I gave it a value 0, a 1, or 0.5. And this is all the database connections and everything that we had. This was the AWS account and that we had to create. We went through, me and Zach, we went through and set this up. We went through and we used AWS, which is the Amazon Workspace, Workspace services. And we used an RDS, which is a rational database system. And this is how we connected our database through MySQL through the cloud. And this was our connection that we had to do. We always, whenever we wanted to connect to it, there was always an endpoint. When we went in the SQL endpoint, we had to put it in host name, and we had to give it username and the password that we gave it, and it'll allow us to connect to for the SQL to connect to the AWS. Next.
And here's Nico, who will go over the AI's system.
All right. So before the semester started, I was hired as an intern at an AI stock trading company. Are y'all seeing my screen? Yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to develop a neural network to classify our animals. This was one of the neural networks that I had to build as part of my training for my internship. This is an image classification neural network that takes each pixel in a picture and treats it as a value, either 0 to 1. 1 is a perfectly white pixel, 0 is a perfectly black. You pretty much take the pixels and make them in an array and pass that array into the classifier. This is your input, which in this case has 784 inputs, which correlate to the 784 pixels in each image. Then there are 2 hidden layers, which in this case contained 125 nodes and 65 nodes respectively. I actually have no control over them. That's why they're referred to as hidden nodes. And then in this case, we had 10 outputs, 0 to 9. In our algorithm, the input would correlate to all the questions available in our database, and the output would relate to each animal in the database as well. The numbered output would correlate to the unique ID of the animal. This is what the full image classification network looked like. Unfortunately, I never got that far on my own. This is the most recent one I had, but it wasn't as developed as some of the other ones due to issues that arose during the pandemic and quarantine. We weren't able to fully implement and train the network. This is the connection to the database, where it takes our user information and adds it to a dictionary, which is similar to a hash function. You put in one value, a different value comes out. In this case, you put in the ID of a question or animal, and the name of the question or the name of the animal is outputted in this hash function. Due to the limitations of the neural network and not being able to fully train it, we had to go with a fairly rigid decision tree, where pretty much questions were asked in a fixed order, and we would output the animal based on that. Yeah, if Bicol wants to go. Hey, Bicol.
Hi, I'm Big Alfresto, and I was in charge of the GUI of the. So this is a simple diagram of how the app should. You can see the players. So when they input for opening the screen, it goes to the menu. It also, like, when the player wants to things, they can go in the settings menu. Next. So for this project, we also used Git to share our code. We used Git up to an extent, so it'd be easier to share our code without having to constantly send it via email. Next. Some of the challenges that we faced during this project were Kiwi MD. So Kiwi was fairly a new concept to all of us. It is one of the best software for developing apps, so that's why we went ahead with it. But there is a very limited resource. There aren't enough projects using Kiwi, so it was very challenging to come up with a suitable user interface for our app. So there weren't many tutorials on Kiwis, so it was a hard time creating a interface out of Kiwi. The next one was AWS. It was also a new concept for all of us. We didn't use AWS before, so one of the main problems that happened was when we were at the end of connecting our database. There was some problem with the AWS. It was asking us for payment for some reason, so that's why we had to create a new server again. So that delayed our project. And the last one is the scope of the project. So this 20 questions and answers. So this is a very big project. So if you go ahead and look at the old version of the project, so this covers like various topics, like from animals, movies, are like a very specific like characters in Star Wars movies, etc. So this is even if it's just for one topic, it's a very big project, because if you're talking about animals only, there are like hundreds of animals. So coming up with questions for each and every kind of animal is very difficult. So we had to limit the project to just one category, that is animals. And even if it's just for animals, we had to build a very large database to accommodate all of many of the questions, and also for like 50 or 60 animals. So that was very challenging. And another one of challenging aspect was the pandemic situation. So due to the pandemic, like the current situation, it was very hard to for all of us to have meeting face to face. So we had to resort to online meeting for all of us. So it wasn't as effective as it would have been if we have like met on face to face. So it was very challenging. uh, the lesson learned during this project was one of the main lesson learned was working on the project ahead of time. So due to the situation and various other delays, uh, we couldn't uh, get the project completed in the time frame that we wanted to, because and we couldn't test our applications for all of the edge cases. So that's why in the future we want to get uh, get working on it ahead and get it completed before our deadline, so we can find many edge cases on our project. Another one is getting familiar with our the environment or the software that we use. So like I said before, like there were very new software that we use like Kiwi and AWS. So having a little bit of knowledge beforehand about this software will be very helpful for us, because it will make us familiar with those softwares, and it will be a little bit easier when we get started working on the project. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you about the GUI part. So for the GUI, I used Kiwi, like I said before, for the user interface. So this is a sample code for the Kiwi. So first I had to import the Kiwi, and also I had to use KiwiMD. KiwiMD is like an open source code library for Kiwi. It provides more customization compared to the normal Kiwi. So this is a sample code. I have all the classes for all the screens that I used over here. So like this is for class for a home screen. This is for settings screen, mode screen, the guest screen, and I also had to make a new file. So in Kiwi, you have to make a new file where this file is just for like how you organize your whole UI, like for so you can so you are basically like creating every widget that we use on the app on this file. So like for home screen, we have a box layout that we store all of the widgets in. Like we also add our image in, like our text button and stuff. So this file is for all of those screens and the customizations for the screen right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the demo of our project. So this is our project 20 questions and answers. So as you can see, we have the main menu in here. So if you go to like settings, there's a settings to, you can turn the sound on and off. There's a notification bar, so we intended to use this like for a real project, like you get like notifications about the app. So if you can turn the sound on from here and off from here. So I'll just leave it as on from here. You can go to the main menu, or you can click this button to quit the app. I'll just on this, go to the main menu here. So if you click on the store, you can change the, I'll just turn the sound for a while right now. If you go to the store, you can also like change the theme of the uh, app. So what it does is just basically like changes the color of our text. Over here, this one you can do. You can even change the theme of the whole app. So if you go, this is a lighter mode. So if you go darker mode, you can go like this. It will just change the whole theme like this. So I'll just go ahead and change it again. So and so once you go into, so if you go to play, you can go to play. So you can see we have to choose a category. So basically for this project, we only have the animals. So that's why we were only focused on one topic, animals. So only animals works for right now. So you can even go to main menu using this button, or you can go to the settings button, use this one. And you can go play and you can click on animals. So when I click on animals, it basically pulls the questions from the database. It so when I click on animals, it pulls the questions from the database, and then it shows up on the app. So, so so these are the buttons that, so we have a algorithm. So if we press yes, it will count as one, and if you press no, it will count as zeros. And after clicking every button, it will store that answer in a list, and then it will again go through the algorithm, and then it will bring the result in. So let me do this real quick. So if like somebody is playing and this goes like one button, yes, 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 everything, it will just show like everything. So it means that they are not paying attention. So if you go no, then the oracle wins. So we can play it again. When I play it again, okay, can go like yes, does it live in the forest? Yes. Does it weigh more than a duck? Yes. Is it easily colorful? No. Is it heavy? No. No. Yes. No. 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 Yes. So after everything, all the answers that we clicked on, it goes to the algorithm. Then it checks the algorithm, and then it returns an animal name. So is it a rabbit? So if you think it's a rabbit, then you can go and click on yes. Then it says you win. So okay, let me show you one more time. Then go to play animal. So then again, so after like after one game is finished, it will pull again another set of 20 questions from the database. So we can play it one more time. So we can go, is it a herbivore? Yes. Yes. No. So it was, is it a horse? Then I think it's a horse. So it's a horse that I was planning. So it's yes, then you win. So basically, so every time you play again, it will pull a random 20, it will pull like a set of 20 questions from the database. Then it again stores all of the answers that we click on, and then it runs through the algorithm, and then it uh, uh, provides us with a specific answer. Then if you are thinking of that animal, then you win. If you are not, then the computer wins. So this is our app. So we can click on quit right here.
There we go.